Okay, I'm Sandy Andrews, and I'm a nurse at Southwest Health Center, and I'm going to talk today a little bit about what to wear when you're exercising outdoors. Okay, I think one of the biggest deterrents to outdoor exercising is not going out because it's too cold, or it's too windy, or it's raining, or it's too hot. So there's lots of reasons why not to exercise outdoors, especially in Wisconsin where the weather's changing all the time. So, but in front of you here, I'm going to kind of go through some ideas of different clothing that works in all weather. And so the biggest reason then for not exercising outdoors is that it's hard to just take that first step out of the house or out of the apartment to actually start doing some kind of exercise. So there's lots with the technology now available for outdoor exercising. There's the clothing that's available is such that you don't get cold, or you don't get too hot, or you don't get too wet. So it's all the wicking sort of technology. So I'm going to go through that. We're going to start a little bit talking about outdoor exercising in the cold. I know we're kind of coming out of the cold weather now with spring, but we'll start with the 50 degrees and up. And usually over 50 degrees you can start thinking about maybe wearing capris or shorts. Usually anything over 50, anytime you're exercising, when you actually get out there and start maybe jogging a little bit, it usually feels like it's 15 to 20 degrees warmer than it is. So you want to keep that in mind. The biggest thing is not to overdress, because nothing worse than overdressing. You're not comfortable, and it really probably makes you want to stop sooner than if you're a little bit on the cooler side. So 50 degrees and up, you can start thinking about capris if it's around 50 degrees. Something a little bit longer than shorts. Or right around 50 degrees, depending on the wind chill as well, or just cloudy or sunny. Short sleeves, usually 50 degrees or above, short sleeves are usually adequate. You want to probably think about avoiding cotton. The reason for that is because cotton just does not whip the moisture, and once you start sweating, you're going to feel cold or feel just uncomfortable with cotton. It's not going to dry, it's not going to whip the sweat away from you. So something like the nylon or the wicking type material like this works a little bit better. Also shorts, lots of different shorts out there. Just again, the nylon shorts, walking, running, whatever. And as the temperatures get warmer, and I'll go into this just a little bit, but just the sleeveless or whatever. So but that's 50 and above. If you go a little bit cooler, which we've had a lot of now with the spring coming, you'll probably be more into the 35 to 50 degree range. Again, capris, tops, long sleeve tops, the same sort of nylon wicking material. So just something light like this is probably adequate for anything 45 degrees. And again, depending on the weather, you might want to wear just some unlined long wicking pants that don't have the fleece linings, that if it's a little bit cooler, like an early morning run or something like that. Also, depending again on the wind and the weather, just some thin gloves that are not lined. These are really nice for probably in the 40s for being outside. And again, they're not lined, but they're just something to cover your hands as you do lose a significant amount of heat out of the extremities. If it gets a little cooler, if you're doing a morning run, maybe 30 degrees, think about bottoms again like I had just discussed, or if it's kind of cold with the wind chill, you might want to think about fleece line long pants. And that's what I have here. So these aren't real heavy, but they are fleece line, and so they're really, I mean, I probably wear these anywhere from 20 to 40 degrees, kind of depending on, again, wind chill and that sort of thing. So these are really warm, and they're form-fitting, they wick sweat away, and the big thing to keep in mind is just in the cold weather running is just covering your head, because we, again, 15 to 20% of our heat's lost through our extremities, and so you want to think of a fleece line hat. And then if it's cold again, 10 degrees or below zero, you might want to, this is actually a neck gaiter, so it goes around your neck, but you can pull it up over your nose and mouth like this, so you can breathe. It warms the air, keeps your face warm, and the only thing that is shown is my eyes. In the wintertime, if we have snow on the ground, which we had plenty this year, just think about sunglasses both winter and summer. It's hard, it's really bright this wintertime if you're out there without. The other thing, cold weather running, hands, my hands are probably is the one thing that takes about 2 miles to warm up. And you know, it can be warm everywhere, and my hands are cold. So liners, glove liners, just real thin nylon layer of, and then you put the gloves, a pair of fleece-lined gloves over top, and that really does the job for any cold weather running. So now again, this kind of stuff, you don't have to go out, don't feel like you have to go out and buy all this stuff. I mean, you know, if you're going out for a brisk walk in the wintertime or a cold weather walking, you're probably not going to be sweating as much, but still think of this kind of you know, materials to wear because it's going to keep you warmer. Okay. In the wintertime when I do run outside, as far as the outer layer, you want to have like a nylon layer underneath, so like nylon long underwear, or not silk long underwear, or something like this for the top. And if it's really cold, then I would wear like a fleece over that for like an insulating layer. This would be the insulating layer, and then this would be the warm layer, and then a windproof or moisture-proof thing over top of that. So I might wear 2 or 3 layers in the wintertime, kind of depending on what the temperature is. And I never get cold. So more often, it's probably easier to overdress than it is to underdress when you're outside. As we get to the warmer weather now, with spring around the corner and spring rains and all that stuff, we want to think about more about hot weather running. And so just, again, the big thing is not overdressing. You're going to warm up really fast outside, so just the nylon wicking materials like this. And of course a good sports bra for the women. Think of sunscreen, winter or summer, because even in Wisconsin, we need to, even in the wintertime, you should think about sunscreen to protect yourself. I always wear a foundation that has sunscreen in, so that's, then if in the wintertime, obviously I'm covered otherwise. Summertime is really, really important. Lots of, we're fair usually in this part of the country, and a lot of skin cancer, sunglasses. If you're running in the foggy weather, rainy weather, you want to think about visibility, okay? The time of the day you run, if it's early morning, it's not going to be real light out yet. You want to think about reflective clothing. So I actually have this for biking, but it also works perfectly for running if it's going to be the visibility is decreased. I have an armband here that just put on the arm it's going to show up with its headlights shining, better. The other thing, the shoes. A lot of the shoes have reflective material on it, so it's going to show up again in the car lights or street lights. The other thing I wanted to show, and I forgot to show with the cold weather running, mention about the shoes. Usually when you think of for running in the snow or running in the icy weather, you want to get more of a substantial shoe than you do when you're running in the nicer weather. So these are more of a trail shoe. And then if you're running outside in the ice or the snow or packed snow, I have you can get what you call, these are called Zac tracks. So they actually fit in the bottom of your shoes. They have little wire coils and rubber, and so they help prevent sliding. Okay, so they help prevent you from falling in if it's more of an icy type ground that you're running on. So these work really good. So yak tracks, they just fit in the bottom of your shoes, and then they Velcro over to the opposite side like you see this. The other thing for summer running, think about a hat just to protect your eyes or keep the sun out. Then with spring again, I'm going to have some rainy weather, so don't let the rain deter you from training or getting out there. Again, just dress appropriately with the same sort of clothing that I just showed you. But think about something like a waterproof jacket. Again, the biggest thing is not overdressing. So if you're running in the summertime and it's raining, you might want to just think about just a long sleeve nylon shirt like I showed you, or even short sleeve depending on the temperature, but wearing more clothes is not going to keep you dry, okay? What's going to keep you dry is what you have on, so you're going to get wet no matter what. This is really a nice waterproof jacket. Again, it has reflective areas on it for decreased visibility, but it's really good for the wind and really good for the water, so just something like that. A really good website that I use a lot for my clothing is Sierra Trading Post. I really like that. It's a website that has really reduced clothing.
I was going to ask you, where do you get all this stuff?
That's where I get a lot of it. A lot of it I just go to, Dick's Sporting, I'll go to those sort of places and look for sales. You can get sales all the time if you look online. Socks, and I mentioned socks. Cold weather running, you want to think of maybe wool socks really work well, keep your feet warm. This is all I wear in the wintertime. I don't wear 2 layers. I wear these even with my shoes, and my feet never get cold. They're just wool. I've had these. They last forever. Smart Wool brand is a nice brand of socks because I've had these for like 6 or 7 years, I think, and I wore them about every time I ran this winter. I also have some longer ones here that you want to make sure that all there's no skin exposed, so if it's really cold or you need something a little longer, something like this. I think that's about all I have. Anybody have any questions?
Have you found certain brands to perform better than others, or not necessarily?
Well, this is Under Armour. Under Armour's great for the under layers. They really make good clothing. I like that. It just really depends. There's a lot of good clothing out there. This is RDK. I'm not sure. That's just kind of an off-brand, but I just love the shirt. It's really, yeah. I think Asics. I have Asics.
What about shoes?
Nike. Shoes, what I would suggest for shoes is really if you're going to start an exercise program, go to a shop that can fit you for shoes. So at least so you know what type of feet that you have to get the right kind of shoes initially. What they do is they take a print of your feet and you just step down on this piece of paper, then they can tell whether you have a high arch, a normal arch, or a flat feet, and that does make a big difference because if you have the wrong kind of shoes, you're going to be a lot more prone to injury. Shoes is one of the most important things. Of all the things that you can get for running or walking outside, you want to make sure you have a good pair of shoes that are fitting correctly.
How big is the difference between like how walking shoes are built versus a running shoe? Or cross trainers, or
there's a difference. Running shoes are lighter. The support might be a little bit different. The place that I really like in this area is the Shoe Shack in Dubuque. It's on Dodge Street. They do a terrific job of fitting you and making sure that what you're looking for is what you're going to get. And that's where I got these. They're just very helpful there, and you pay a little bit more for that. But once you go there, you can get shoes anywhere else and just know what to look for when you know the brand to get or the kind of shoes that you should get. So you can get them on sale somewhere else if you. But I really suggest going somewhere like that so you initially know what kind of feet you have. I have a very flat feet, and I also pronate because of my flat feet, so my feet kind of have a tendency to roll in. So they'll fit you. Make sure that you have. Right now I'm dealing with an injury, so that's the other thing. Make sure that you don't over-train, take a day off in between, especially if you're just starting out. I'm training for a half marathon right now. I have an Achilles tendonitis, and I think that's probably from overtraining, doing too much in a row rather than taking days off of rest. And so now I'm scheduled to do a half in a month, and I'm not sure how that's going to work because I'm kind of not running a lot right now. So it'll be a slower half, but I'll probably do it. So, any other questions?